All right, we'll get started. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today for the Innovare Elevation Series, Ask Me Anything U.S. Drone Soccer. I'm your host, Melissa Tallman, the Community Curator here at Griffith Institute and the Innovare Advancement Center. Today, we're going to be discussing U.S. Drone Soccer, which is convening youth competitions across the country, paving the road to the World Cup. The game is played with a remote-controlled flying quadcopters protected by an exoskeleton cage. Today, we are going to welcome Kyle Sanders, who happens to be the Vice President of Development for U.S. Drone Soccer. He's going to discuss all things that encompass this high-tech team game built for kids. Major Kyle Sanders is a retired combat pilot and graduate of the Air Force Academy, where he later served as instructor pilot and coach of the intercollegiate flying team. He holds a master's education and has led large-scale outreach programs for government, university, and nonprofit organizations. Kyle, thank you so much for joining us today. The floor is yours.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me. Great to be here and excited for all the things that are happening in New York. I'll just do kind of a quick overview of our program, and then we can jump into some Q&A. And let me get this shared. Oh, that didn't quite work out. Let me get that right there. Fix the size here. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. We're Drone Sports Incorporated. We're an ed tech robotics company headquartered here in Olympic City, USA of Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs is home to the Olympic Training Center, as well as the Olympic and Paralympic Museum, as well as the Air Force Academy, and about 5 military bases, but only 4 that we're allowed to talk about. I'm sure there's a lot of Air Force folks here in the audience. We provide the technology and hardware to power the world's newest air sport. This is our flagship program, U.S. Drone Soccer. And through that, we are bringing high school robotics competitions into the space age. So we utilize professional grade drones and open source technology where students have to build, program, and learn to fly as a team. Our program goes well beyond STEM learning. We are expanding aerospace skills training for middle and high school career and technical education pathways. As an organization, our primary focus is on accessibility of these aerospace opportunities for women and communities that have been historically excluded from aviation. Our team is currently working with drone leaders around the world to advance drone education. This is an industry that is moving very quickly and, leaving a lot of regulators and educators behind. So we're working hard to try to make this accessible to youth and education programs. David led the U.S. drone racing team to 2 world championships. He now sits on the steering committee for drone sports at the World Air Sports Federation and is our national representative for drone sports. Bill is an industrial designer who's responsible for many of the games you might have played at Dave & Buster's, as well as designing commercial drone equipment and running a small scale manufacturing shop. So he runs our production and shipping out of Buffalo, New York. And thanks for the introduction. I feel like I don't need to introduce myself now. But yeah, I've got a bachelor's in space systems engineering from the Academy, a master's in science education, and my focus has really been on outreach, over my 15-year career. I did retire early and flew C-130s all over the world. So collectively as a team, and this includes all of our educational partners as well, our shared passion is inspiring the next generation of pilots and engineers. In a lot of ways, I'm continuing the same work that I did at the Air Force Academy. When, this was just a few years ago, but we actually couldn't convince enough cadets to enter into rated and technical career fields. This is a persistent problem across the entire aviation and aerospace sector, which is critically short manned right now. And a problem that I've just really been dedicated to, but it can't be solved at the university level. If we want students to pursue these careers, we have to engage them and show them these professional opportunities at a much younger age. If I can get my slide to go forward. There we go. So we believe drone soccer is the best way to help open these career pathways for students ages 12 to 18. Drone soccer is highly educational, but it is also unique that it's an internationally sanctioned sport. I'll give you a little view of what the game actually looks like in action.
Good afternoon and welcome to Soccer House in Colorado Springs, Colorado for the drone soccer final in the Rocky Mountain State Games. And not only has this been a great competition today, Marty, but this is really the inception, the birth, so to speak, of competitive drone soccer, not just in Colorado, but in North America. In some extremely talented drone pilots, and it's going to culminate with the Phantoms and the Prowlers here in the final.
It's absolutely amazing. No one's ever seen anything like this.
Some rules to know. We are playing 3v3, but drone soccer can also be played 4-on-4 or 5-on-5. The players are piloting drones specifically designed to be able to withstand mid-air collisions. So this is a full contact sport. And each team has a striker designated by flags that will be hanging beneath the roll cage of the drone. And then the other two players on each team, their job is simple. Keep the striker from going through the goal and keep the other team from scoring. We will play 3 sets. We will play best of 3.
Phantoms in clear with red ball cages, Prowlers with black and yellow. They couldn't be more different, and they're in the air.
And we are underway here in the final, and immediately the Phantom score followed by the Prowlers. They are doing a great job and great piloting there by Breno to sneak his way through to score for the Prowlers.
Alden matches the record for the most goals scored by a striker in any set in the final set. Matching Breno, you couldn't have had a better matchup in the finals. It went the distance. Had the Prowlers won, we would have gone again, but the Phantoms shut them down with some amazing defense. What a team, what a win.
So what's really gets me is, these kids in such a short amount of time, just, they love it. And this to them is a real activity. This is a real sport and they are training every weekend. So it is really exciting to see. Hang on, let me get back. Okay. So as you saw, the game is played by drones in those protective cages. It is full contact, and as they're playing, there are parts flying and propellers, littering the ground as they really take a beating. But that's a big part of what they're doing. It's kind of a mix between, Formula One racing and Quidditch. In between each set, they're working really hard as a team to repair and get their drones back in the air. So just a lot of hustle throughout the entire competition. The response from students and teachers has been pretty overwhelming, and we want your help to bring this program to thousands of students around the world. So growing drone soccer programs today is also an investment in our future workforce. We've already talked about the critical shortages in pilots, engineers, and skilled technicians. And as a pilot, I can tell you that these professions are completely inaccessible to teachers and students. If we can give them actual skills training earlier, most students don't know of the jobs that are just, a few miles away at their airport. Leaders from the FAA to governors to industry, they're all pushing career recruitment and training all the way down to the middle school level. I don't know if there's any representatives from New York Polytechnic, but talking to the provost there, who said drone soccer is exactly what they've been waiting for. Right now, drone soccer is well funded through state and federal career and technical education dollars that are set aside to provide students with high-paying career paths. These are two of our motivated educators who took part in our year-long test program in Colorado. David Steele is a former helicopter pilot, and Robert Ferguson was the Air Force Association's Teacher of the Year for the state of Colorado. We've built our entire program around the needs of the modern CTE classroom. And I sit on a statewide board for CTE aviation in Colorado. And for those who are not familiar with CTE, it's not just shop class anymore. Our goal is having students graduate at 18 with an associate's degree and professional licenses like airframe and power plant mechanics and pilot certificates. Some of our graduates from our test program last year at 18 went straight into the drone industry, making $50 an hour, which is like more than $85,000 a year. Really impressive for some of these kids. Let's see if this will play for us. Sorry about the sound there. I don't know how to get rid of the sound. This is from our recent tournament. I'll just hit pause there. I was hoping to talk over it without the sound, but to do this activity, we've had to work with some drone racing manufacturers to create this open source technology for the students to work with. A lot of products out there just really weren't well suited for education, and so we've had to push the market forward a little bit. We've designed these drone soccer ball kits to be affordable, durable, and repairable. They're completely modular, and everything on the drone can be repaired with a single driver. No soldering required. And they're open source, which means from the flight software to the components we're using, students can upgrade, innovate, and re-engineer their drones over the school year. So they're learning skills from small scale manufacturing, CNC machines, 3D printing, computer aided design, coding. I mean, really avionics is what we call it in our, as a pilot, but a lot of work that they can get into in a lot of depth. So not only that, we provide all of the support equipment that a teacher needs out of the box. So they're not, trying to find everything they need at stores for themselves. This includes the practice and professional arenas, those netted enclosures that you saw, radio controllers, batteries, tools, spare parts. We've also written lesson guides and provide professional development training for educators. We're working towards expanding this into full-fledged curriculum aligned with NGSS. Our program is priced to match other robotics and after-school athletics. So as you can see, from that competition, the students are working hard the entire time and putting those professional skills into action. There we go. Okay. So we're part of a larger movement to help push drone sports into the Olympics. The World Air Sports Federation was established in 1905. It governs all aerial sports and records, including manned spaceflight records. In 2018, they announced that drone soccer was their newest sanctioned sport, along with drone racing. And they asked us to help lead adoption in North America and Europe. We're officially recognized as U.S. representatives today through our affiliation with the Academy of Model Aeronautics, which is a large national aviation special interest group. And we are giving every student who competes in America right now a pathway to the World Cup. This summer, we will be demonstrating drone soccer at the 2022 World Games. Both the World Games and the FAI are recognized by the International Olympic Committee. And the World Games are all the sports that are not selected for that year's Olympics, but they're in contention for future Olympics. So the International Olympic Committee is there, and future host nations get to select what sports they will include. Drone racing is making its debut as an official event, but we will be demonstrating drone soccer for 4 days in the festivities at the World Games Plaza. Our company is producing both events on behalf of the FAI, and we've been working very closely with the FAA and other organizations to help advance drone sports and make them more accessible. Just to give everybody an idea, in case you want to bring this to your community or to your school, we did work hard to make this accessible and affordable. Cost for all required equipment to play is about $500, which is intended to match traditional sports and other after-school club activities. If a drone soccer arena exists in a community venue like a campus museum or youth center, we have some arenas right there in upstate New York. A team's total equipment, 5 to 10 players, is about $3,000. But most classrooms require a self-sufficient program that includes the practice arena, professional development training for staff, and enough equipment so that they can have scrimmages between two teams. All of that is included in a $12,000 price, and this is what the average purchase for our schools are. We do custom purchasing for whatever their goals may be. A majority of our programs are funded through CTE dollars or other philanthropic grants, such as those provided by the Griffiths Institute. To bring drone soccer to a new area, the initial investment for the professional arena setup that you saw in some of those videos, staff training and demonstration drones, comes to around $20,000. We've done this in several cities now, and this is enough to seed a new league and begin enrolling neighborhood schools and students. This is really what you need to do public tournaments and events. We are working with partners all over the country who are still, it's only been 3 months since our public launch, and everybody's really rushing to get going. So since our launch, it was like January 20th, we've had 125 universities, colleges, nonprofits, and school districts submit enrollment requests. 60 of them have already purchased the equipment and training to launch their programs. These include our New York partners, CNY Drones, the Griffiths Institute, the New York City Police Department, Mohawk Valley Community College, Auburn University, University of Alabama, Space Camp at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center, and probably a half dozen other community colleges. We were recently selected, but not funded, for the Air Force Research Lab Small Business Innovation Research Direct to Phase 2. What this means is that they found our program had a lot of merit, but they ran out of money to fund all the programs. So it is eligible, if any of you are in the Air Force here, to assume that contract. Partners on the proposal were the Air Force Academy, AFRL STEM with Jeff here in the room from Rome, New York, Purdue University's ROTC, and the NYPD. The intent of this program was to develop Blue small UAS training technology and curriculum that is compliant with the National Defense Authorization Act. The NDAA essentially says that no drones can be purchased by the government for that contains Chinese hardware. And currently China makes almost all the hardware for drones and robotics. So currently service academies, ROTC, JROTC, they don't have any classroom drones that are suitable for indoor training. We are resubmitting this cycle. We're looking for additional government and university partners to help us test and implement this program. So if you would like to be involved in that, that proposal and have drone soccer funded to come be tested in your community, please contact me directly. We look forward to hearing more about all of you, and looking forward to Lisa sharing some of what's happening there in New York. Thank you.
Dale, thank you so much. I loved the videos, invigorating. I love the innovativeness of the entire program that you are putting together, and excited to learn more. At this time, I'll open up the forum for any questions from our audience. If you could just unmute yourself, ask, and then you can mute yourself again.
All right, well, I can start. Hi. So I'm with NARIC, the Northeastern Regional Information Center. We have, I don't know, Colin's on the call too, he can correct me, but we have a huge territory in New York, like 134 school districts or something like that. And we recently had a statewide meeting for model schools, and I did connect with one of the folks who I think is involved with the Cine drones, the CNY drones. And like my head almost like flew off. I was so excited about this. So I guess, so he was the person who told me to get on this call. And I'm curious, and maybe it's an offline kind of conversation, but like if our organization wanted to, I guess I don't know where to start, like how that even looks. But in terms of trying to put something like this together, at first I kind of envisioned, if it was possible, of course, I'm just the idea person. It doesn't mean I can get it all to go. But like having an arena that made things available to our districts so that we could start a league locally because we're not in the same region as CNY drones, so it'd be a different area, different schools. So I guess how does that even look to get started or get that sort of thing off the ground?
No, fantastic question. Nice to meet you, Hillary.
Hi.
So the easy way to get started, and most nonprofits, universities are kind of going this route, a small purchase of some drones for training and the professional development course. It's 8 hours plus ongoing support. So we run that training, get your team familiar, your initial cadre, trained and certified in our program, so that they can, one, go out and advocate in the community. It helps with fundraising to, be trained and fully understand the scope of the program. And as we work towards implementation. So once we're, get a grant or get the funds together for that professional arena. We did this in Colorado, and all it took was one public demonstration. We invited some civic leaders, some school districts, and we, less than a year later have 18 different organizations playing drone soccer. It goes fast because most of them are familiar with traditional robotics competitions that really have been happening for 20 years. And then this is something new and a little bit more engaging for the dollar. So once we get the training done, get your people certified, they can then host professional development training for their teachers and provide that, direct support. We do a demo and get the program going. And it really just comes down to working with you and working with all of our regional partners to help find grants and opportunities to help the program grow. Just a big part of our mission is to minimize costs to families. So if you can be grant supported, that's fantastic. But it goes quickly, and I'll let Lisa tell you about it, but we already have regional competitions planned in the fall and spring, so there's plenty of opportunities for your students to compete regularly. The idea, once it's fully implemented, is that they'll compete over the course of a season like any traditional sport, which would seed them going into that end of the year tournament. So it's much more of a frequent engagement that the students are iterating and growing over the course of a semester. Oh, and I just want to clarify as well, it is being implemented in 3 ways. As a classroom program, an enrichment program, so your STEM, engineering, science classrooms, it can be used, as a teaching tool. We have middle school teachers that use it as a semester-long aid for their, physical sciences curriculum. It's also an after-school competitive club. So those students that want to travel and compete against other schools will, practice after school. And then it's also a valuable summer camp program. We ran summer camps all summer at the Air and Space Museum here. So about a week-long camp is perfect for drone soccer.
Kyle, what's your typical age demographic that you're looking at? You're going for school age kids, but is this geared more towards 4th grade to 8th? Are we looking more towards high schoolers?
Yeah, it's grades 6 to 12, 6 to 12. So ages 12 to 18. We really feel that students younger than 12 lack some of the dexterity and patience for these professional grade drones. We did try, a spread of ages last year. I think this is most valuable for those rising high school students, 8th grade, 9th grade, as they are going into high school and deciding what kind of courses they want to take. Super valuable. We see those students really latch on and continue through aviation pathways. One of our students was 15 last year in the test program, played drone soccer to stay engaged because there really aren't aviation opportunities for those younger students until they turn 16. She got a scholarship to get her glider's license and then has gotten 3 follow-on scholarships to get her pilot's license. And she's flying airplanes now at 16. So just exciting to see the potential if you can get them young enough to take advantage of those opportunities. And then I will say that there's 2 categories internationally of sizes. Ours is the 20 centimeter size, which is the smaller of the 2 international categories. We think this fits really well in schools. There is a larger 40 centimeter category. It's almost a beach ball size. So we will be growing into collegiate programs. We did some senior design challenges with University of Colorado, and it's available to manufacture your own 40 centimeter drones for competition. So that's more what the collegiate level will look like, that they're scratch building these and manufacturing them themselves. But we do have a pathway through college, but we really feel these next couple of years, the foundation of high school programs is going to be important. Oh, hey, I forgot there's a faculty at UB that just sent a message there. I forgot to mention, I got my master's from UB, like distance, but I'm a Buffalo graduate.
Oh, wonderful. That's great to know.
Oh, yes, I saw your comment about some NSF proposals. Yes, please. NSF proposals, I don't know why, are just really intimidating for me. We're going for some Air Force and FAA grant opportunities, but would love any assistance from university or nonprofit partners who want to partner on some grant opportunities for testing and implementation and curriculum development.
Wonderful. Can I have your email IDs?
Yes, it is kyle@dronesports.us, and Melissa dropped it in the chat. Thank you.
Hi, I'm
Yeah.
Faith Tobin. I got a couple questions. I'm in South Carolina and I'm with a group of volunteers called STEAM Tech Teams that are going into schools to promote technology. Where is the drone being built?
Yeah, good question. So we distribute from Buffalo, New York. We are working with iFlight RC. They're a leading drone racing manufacturer in China. So they kind of have worked with us on the design process and are a worldwide distributor. And so these are high quality racing drones, high powered. So something that's probably much different than what you might find at Walmart.
And how is the supply chain interrupting you being able to get equipment?
Right now, our only issues have been shipping delays. You know, something gets stuck, you know, some lost in shipping somewhere for a couple weeks. Our supply chain is strong. We feel really good about our ability to scale, and we're continuing to just produce more and more. Just May was pretty overwhelming with the demand that we had, which is great, and we have every confidence that we can keep up with it. As long as the boxes don't get lost at an airport somewhere, that's been our only delay.
Thank you.
And just on that note, probably worst case is 30 days for back ordered items, just to allow for delays in shipping. If we do happen to run out of something, which we're working hard not to, worst case is 30 days. And then the arenas are custom made in Michigan by Tentcraft. So they go into production when an order is confirmed. It takes them about 3 weeks to manufacture the arenas and ship them. So we just tell everybody, if you're planning on, student programs or, implementing this, plan probably 45 days in advance to place your order so that we have enough time to train your team on all the equipment and everything after it arrives. We're typically doing the 4-hour trainings on 2 separate Saturdays. So just planning for that.
Kyle, on the subject of the arenas, as Hillary said, we have a fairly large geographic footprint in upstate New York. How mobile are the arenas? How easy is it to move an arena around?
Yes, I'm not going to lie, they're heavy, but they are fully collapsible. They come with a dolly that attaches, a really robust carrying case. So when it's expanded, first let's talk about that. When it's expanded, it's 10 feet by 10 feet by 20. That's the internal gaming area. The total height is about 11.5 feet. So you do require 12-foot ceilings to deploy the arena without the banner. If you wanted, it comes with that 10-foot banner on top that can be custom designed for your organization. That you would need about 15-foot ceilings, so a gymnasium or an atrium. Now, floor space, you need a minimum 30 by 40. It's kind of a 10-foot safety area around it. The pilots flying stand on outside of either end zone. So that's kind of the pilot areas, and you just want a safety standoff from spectators, about 10 feet. So we recommend 30 by 40 minimum. Now, when it's collapsed, it is about 7 feet tall and 2 feet by 3 feet. And then there's an additional carrying bag for the netting wall panels. The whole thing goes together in maybe 30, 40 minutes with a team of 4 people. It's kind of a pop-out shelter and all the nets and walls Velcro to it. So pretty easy to deploy in and out. I've done it myself solo in about 45 minutes. I don't recommend that. It is hefty. It weighs maybe 300 pounds, but with the dolly, you know, one person who's, you know, doesn't have any like lifting restrictions could get that in and out. I do recommend a team though, getting out of the car. But I'm able to fit a tournament setup in the back of a mid-sized SUV.
Yeah.
So if you had a van or a truck, it'd be no problem, you know, taking it to areas around your geographic, you know, kind of region.
Kyle, I'll just kind of piggyback off of that. If you were doing a tournament, how many nets do you feel are needed for a tournament? Can you run a full tournament off of one net and just have the kits for the teams?
Yeah, so each program, or sorry, each game runs about 30 minutes total time. It is 3 sets of 3 minutes with 5-minute repair periods. And, you know, the time for the referees to take the drones in and out, about 30 minutes. If the teams are going to play back to back, you need about a 15-minute battery charging period for the kids to kind of reset and repair in between. So if you allow 45 minutes for each new round of the tournament, you can plan out how many you can get through in a day. When we run our major tournaments, we have 2 arenas. We run them simultaneously. So we're able to get through an 8-team double elimination tournament in a day.
Great, thank you. Any other questions currently for Kyle? We've got Zevi. Zevi is from AX Enterprise right here inside the Innovare Advancement Center. So he's asking, is there any funding from this program being fed back to the open source crowd funded beta flight, control software, and configuration?
Yeah, so we utilize Betaflight. We work with a lot of leaders in that drone community. You know, Bill and David come from the drone racing community. So we are constantly interacting with developers and with some of our other partners like Hydra FPV. They've been leaders in drone racing for a while. They run all the live streams for the US Masters and all the tournaments. They've actually helped us develop our league management software that we utilize. So we're very tied in with the community and working with them on the World Games and other major events. So we, you know, Zevi, we're new, we're working on our own funding. And once we have that taken care of, I'm sure we'll be putting that into Betaflight, trying to get some custom forks written for drone soccer that are a little bit more appropriate for the classroom.
Thank you.
Yeah, Betaflight's fun. There's a whole lot of depth, and that's what what you use to program the drones, just for everybody else.
Thank you. I hope that you can stay on the line with us as you can hear our next guest speaker on this. And this is, I'd like to introduce everybody to Lisa Marie Payne. She helps facilitate the CNY drones here in Central New York, which is a nonprofit ran organization on a volunteer basis. So Lisa, you've done some really great, interesting things in the past few months with CNY drones and having a challenge run locally here just recently. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, CNY Drones has been around since 2016. We are actually under the fiscal agency of Griffith Institute, and happily so. We started with a team drone challenge back in 2018 and did a few of those that were based off our background in robotics. But when we ran into US Drone Soccer, it was a force to be reckoned with. We really liked the idea of something on a smaller scale that is very portable, that ties in directly with the drone education and employment pipeline, which is really why we were set up in 2016. And on April 4th, we had what would be the championship site at SUNY Polytechnic in Utica. We had a championships showcase, if you would, and invited educators from across the state, mostly people that we had in contact with through NYSETA, which I'm a member of, the New York State Technology Educators Association. And we invited educators from around our area and mostly in upstate, but we did invite downstate people also. And actually New York Institute of Technology did attend, and they are one of the first people to sign on with US Drone Soccer in New York State. So we had Mohawk Valley Community College, their Gear Up program, and now I just heard this morning their STEP program will be next to sign on. We have the NYPD, which we will be, hopefully we'll get trained by the end of June. And we have a number of smaller schools that are in development right now that are looking to either do it through a classroom or after school program or team. A lot of these are contacts that we've had over the years through robotics. And some are people that we've had contact with over the last several years doing our Team Drone Challenge. So we're trying to move people into US Drone Soccer and really be the support system here based out of SUNY Poly, working with our AMA club. We are technically an AMA club as CMY Drones, and our sister organization is at SUNY Polytechnic. That's the student club that we work with hand in hand to put on all our demonstrations. So on April 4th, we got together with those student clubs and did a nice demo where we had everyone see firsthand what was going on with US Drone Soccer here in Central New York and how we will be running the tournament in SUNY Poly's Wildcat Fieldhouse, which is a great venue to have for any kind of competition that's STEM related. We love that locale. So CMY Drones, just for anyone who doesn't realize our background, my husband, Bob, and I, and I'm not sure if Bob's on the call today because he works full-time elsewhere, but we started CMY Drones in 2016 after almost 10 years in local robotics. So we were affiliated up with SUNY Poly and bringing first LEGO League and first Tech Challenge up there and with that group. So after that, we weren't going to be involved in STEM any longer, but found here we are 15 years in and really love what we're doing. And CMY Drones will be the backbone support in New York State in offering the championship. We're told that we're being spurred into doing a national championship at some point in the future, possibly sooner than later if we have the support. But we are going to have the technical expertise behind us to support all teams, whether they be in a classroom or after school program or at a nonprofit or wherever they're located. All of our volunteers on our planning committee who meet weekly have one of these drone kits. So they have all put together one of these drone balls and have them at their ready. And we pretty much have a less than 24-hour turnaround for anyone who has a question. So we're here to support the educators, to support the students as they go through the build cycle. And we're generally going to help all the leagues set up throughout New York State and our region, which technically is, for right now, is New York and New Jersey under AMA.
Awesome. I'm a little curious because I've heard both you and Kyle now mention the NYPD. Can you go into a little bit further of their involvement and in what they're planning to do with us?
Well, we were in contact with the NYPD. We've been with them for about 5 years now, trying to get them to do some student programs down in New York City. And we've sent our people down there a few times over to do little mini programs with their Police Benevolent Association, which I have trouble saying, sorry. That group does after school programs where they traditionally done a cop and a kid who work together doing either basketball programs, or they've also done music programs and a number of other programs which have grown over the years, actually in the last 5 years. So we're trying to get US Drone Soccer in each of the boroughs where these programs are located. And that was just signed off on by NYPD. And we will be going down there once we get the first group of police officers, and we originally were going to do 6 officers, and I think it's up to 10 at this point in our first group. We're bringing in U.S. Drone Soccer, so Kyle will be in town to help with that. And we're bringing our certified trainers down to New York City to do the training, and that should be the end of June. Once we have that initial group trained, we may be working with them and to coordinate future training when they have additional staff that they want trained. But we're going to have at least 1 officer from each of the boroughs in that first training. And that should be a big splash down in New York. They're really looking forward to promoting that.
Yeah, if I could add a little bit, there's different approaches that we're seeing. We really believe in a community partnership-based approach. Sometimes an organization has a venue but no staff, or they have a staff but no funding, and so pulling together the community to support this is important. A lot of community colleges and universities are taking the same approach as NYPD, using their faculty and undergraduate students and cadets to be the mentors for the high school engagement program. And so the NYPD's drone soccer program is an example of that, mirroring their Friday Night Lights basketball program, where the officers are the referees and the coaches and the mentors for the kids. We work with Boys and Girls Club and other organizations to create these mentorship programs in those neighborhoods that don't have access to aviation education.
Great, thank you.
And when we signed on with U.S. Drone Soccer, we actually had NYPD in mind. They were first on our list because we had been working with them for about 5 years at that point, and said, they would be perfect to get involved in this. So we had them in the back of our head thinking, okay, when we go forward with this, we're going to get them involved. And it's been a long road, but it's coming to fruition.
Great to hear, and I can't wait to get some updates on that. Any other questions at all from our audience? Okay. I would like to extend an invitation to both Lisa, Bob, Kyle, the U.S. Drone Soccer family. We are having an event here at Innovare at the Advancement Center in Rome, New York on July 14th. I'd love to invite you guys to come out and do a demonstration for all of our attendees. It's open to the public, celebrating our 2nd year here for the Innovare Advancement Center, which is our tech system, our tech ecosystem that specializes in UAS and cyber, quantum, AI, and ML. Government folks, industry, and academia will be invited on that, but I think this would be a great opportunity for them to see in person the capabilities that U.S. Drone Soccer has and how fun it is in person. So please accept this invitation, and I hope to see you there.
Great, accepted on this end for sure. I looked it up since our conversation earlier this morning, and definitely we have that date open, so we will be there.
Wonderful.
Just to give a little bit more background on CNY drones, we are funded. The reason we were able to get involved with U.S. Drone Soccer is through the Air Force Research Lab, who graciously funded us to get this up and rolling for New York State. And with that funding, what we've done, we're a completely volunteer group, but what we've been able to do is purchase equipment. And what we have right now is the professional arena, which we used for our demonstration at SUNY Poly and will be for the championship. We have a professional arena and also what they call a practice arena, which is just a little bit lighter weight and easier to tote around. Probably like 100-pound difference, I believe. I don't know if Bob's on with us, but he can probably attest to that, having worked with it several times over. That we have the arena, we have several of the, I don't even know the number at this point of the ball kits that I have, but we have each of our guys have this exact kit, and they're on call for support purposes. we have a number that we use for demonstration. Last night, we were at Little Falls High School, just doing a very small demo to get people accustomed to, what this is all about and hear the drones flying around in a very small area. But we're hoping to get Little Falls on board with this soon. I hope someone from Little Falls is watching right now, actually. But we're trying to get out into the community, doing lots of demos. We have a number of them set up and a lot of call for them in the area. So I'm not sure how many of the larger demos we will be doing, because it does require a little bit of staffing to get those up and running and to actually run that. But as we get going and have more teams, we'll have teams like right now, Cicero North Syracuse, just as a great example, was at our April 4th event and volunteered in to do demos immediately. And they have a technology club that they had already established and jumped right into it. They were already up and running, and give them some matching t-shirts and a little more support, and they will be the team to watch. That's run by Martin Miner out of Cicero North Syracuse. Great program there. They were with us the full day running matches against our guys, so to speak, and whipping them. So they were doing really well. So teams like that will just be like magic.
Yeah, and I wanted to add some other information we didn't get to. We do have a lot of traction. This is brand new, to give everybody's, gauge everyone's expectations. We're only a few months into launching this program. So the early adopters like CNY drones have really led the way. It's really exciting to see the reaction from communities who were just excited for something this new. Some other programs, we work internationally with the World Air Sports Federation, but also with some international partners. We have projects going in Canada. The Canadian Council for Aviation and Aerospace is trying to help raise funds for us to fly into Inuit tribes in the Alaskan Inuit community, in the Alaskan Arctic, which are fly-in only communities supported only by aircraft, to do drone soccer there, because aviation is so important in those communities. We recently, in February, did a kickoff program in Lagos, Nigeria, that was funded by the US consulate there for 8 girl-led teams in Africa. So really emphasizing the importance of equity and opportunity for all students there. We will be headed to South Africa in a few weeks to kick off a South African program. Both of those programs, Nigeria and South Africa, are hoping to come send their students to participate in our World Games demo. We are asking, and hopefully if we can send information out to the attendees here, the Nigerian program needs some help raising funds. So they're going to start a GoFundMe to help bring those students to the World Games and allow them to tour the US Space and Rocket Center at Space Camp. So really cool opportunity for these students who have not had any access to this kind of technology prior. So if you can all help us out and share that with your networks, and hopefully we can fundraise to support those students. Coming, our Colorado Championship team is coming down, and some programs from other states are excited. It's just a great way to introduce this sport and drone education to, whole new communities.
Wonderful. Kyle, I'll go ahead and I'll share all that information when we go ahead and share the link for this YouTube feed once we have this up onto the site. So any of our attendees today, that information will go out. Check your inboxes, and we'll have all of the other information, such as Lisa Marie's contact information, Kyle's contact information, and you can always visit usdronesoccer.com. Do I got that right for the website?
Dronesoccer.us. That's right.
Dronesoccer.us for more information. Any other questions or feedback that we'd like to discuss? Bob, you're on mute.
Hi, I'm David. I want to just pipe up. Thank you. I've also been with US Drone Soccer. I appreciate Kyle taking the lead and presenting all this. I was working on some of the stuff for the games right now, but really appreciate everybody taking the time to learn about what we're doing at US Drone Soccer. Hi, Lisa Marie. It's nice to see you again. Thank you for your leadership up in New York. Ms. Chauvin from South Carolina, your husband might be Robert Chauvin. I was in South Carolina this last week at Triple Tree Aerodrome, where we introduced drone soccer to that magnificent facility. That's to the west of you in Greenville. Maybe we can plan to talk offline over the next few weeks to see how that's maturing. What that means is we probably will have, or we're looking to have, an arena installed at the education center at this airport. And it's a model airplane and full-scale airport. So that can help complement that area. An arena is the hub of the universe for drone soccer. So it'd be wonderful to have that there. Anyway, I just want to say thank you all very much for your time today.
Thanks, David. Did we lose Bob again?
Probably. Something I'd like to add, I'm not sure if I've mentioned already, Mohawk Valley Community College's Gear Up program, and now from what I heard this morning, also their STEP program. Their Gear Up program actually was the first to be involved in US Drone Soccer here locally. What we did was we worked with Todd Kubica, who runs that program out of MVCC, and that program is run out of Roam Free Academy. So those students were the first to get an actual professional arena, just like what we have up at SUNY Poly. And we'll be using both those arenas for our championship. So we'll have the 2 professional arenas and at least a couple of the what they call the smaller arena or the practice field, so to speak, in our championships. So we, at the very least, have the 2 pro arenas that'll be available for that competition. And we're shooting for March 26th. I can't say specifically that it will be that date, but I'm shooting for that date for 2023 to be our championship date. It seems to fall in line with everything that we've heard so far. We're just getting the final blessings from SUNY Poly, hopefully soon, in writing, so that we have that date set. We will be doing a kickoff in the fall at SUNY Poly, probably in one of the smaller venues up there, alongside our AMA club. We will also be doing tech meets, which will consist of both a learning portion and a sessions where we actually have competitions. We're going to kick that off to get the interest locally. We'll be working in Rome with MVCC to get them started. I'm already working with some teams out in Syracuse that are starting to form. So the ball is rolling, and we are underway here in New York State.
I can't wait. This is in my backyard. I cannot wait to cheer everybody on and try to get my kids involved in this as well. So I appreciate that. Again, anybody who's looking for more information can visit dronesoccer.us, or if you're local, you'd like to get involved, you can go to cnydrones.org. Kyle, Lisa, thank you guys again so very much for your time. Thank you everybody to our guests for joining us as part of our Innovare Elevation series. I'll be sending out a link shortly, so please go ahead and check your emails and have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.